Good afternoon, folks. It's your old pal Colby Evans here with another episode of Backmarker Battles, Episode 3. We have a great show for you guys today. Going into the season finale races for the three main battles this weekend. We got a lot to talk about. Martinsville really shaked everything up, and I even said it last week with the underdogs having a more of an equal chance to get a good finish at Martinsville. It could really jumble up the standings. Boy, was I correct. So we'll get right into the show. Let's get to the quick intro. I'm Colby Evans. Follow me at Start and Park Car on Twitter. Follow ARCA Racing on Twitter. And follow my good buddy Brad Smith on Twitter, all in the description below. Let's get right into it, folks. The truck race. So let's start at the very bottom. The truck race at Martinsville. While the race itself was kind of a low-key crash fest, I mean, let's face it, there's no other way to put it. That truck race was a complete crash fest. The backmarkers, some struggled, while some were able to get some of their best runs of the entire year. But the Martinsville truck race usually brings something like that because, like I said last week, the backmarkers, it's kind of a more of an even playing field for some teams. And then you got still the really, really slow guys. And that was very prominent with a couple of guys, such as the 49 of Roger Rius, the 10 of Jennifer Joe, and the 33 of Jesse Awuji. I do think the lack of practice did hurt them. This is why I do believe on some tracks, even if they don't feel like we need practice in qualifying, maybe even not qualifying, just at least a couple of practice laps to get the truck ready. You know, if they're going to start where they're going to start, fine, but let them have a couple of warm-up laps because for people like Jesse, I don't think Jesse had ever been to Martinsville before. Jennifer usually doesn't be able to bring the best brake packages to get her truck stopped in time. And in general, for the 49 team, Roger, again, is also a rookie. I think if you could have given those guys and gal some more time to prep, maybe their trucks would have been a lot better off for that race, and they would have not been getting lapped every single 10 laps. And as we saw for Jennifer Jo Cobb, with all due respect to her, she kind of became more of a joke throughout the race went on. I believe getting wrecked, then going backwards up the track, almost being forced to get out of the track, get out of the truck, and somehow was not parked by NASCAR and actually still ended up finishing the race. All with an pretty much unsponsored truck, but the hood, might I add as well. So that was kind of funny. That was actually kind of funny, but nonetheless, even through all that, I'm still a Jennifer Jo Cobb fan, have been since 2010. But some notable back markers that did get some great runs. One of your favorites and another one of my favorites, the Charlie Henderson Food Country USA team, Henderson Motorsports, initially was a top 5 finish, but through some scoring changes, unfortunately relegated the 76 truck back to 6th place instead of what initially was thought of 4th. Still, nonetheless, a great run for the Charlie Henderson team. Again, one of my all-time favorite teams, the Food Country USA truck or late model from the back in the day. One of the best paint schemes, hands down, whether who's driving the truck. It's a great team to cheer for, and definitely a guy like Parker Kligerman, who I agree with what a lot of people say. His career was just taken away from him in a full-time capacity when he had so much potential. So much potential. I still agree that I wish he would have waited another year in Xfinity before going to the doomed Swan Racing ride. That's for sure. You're one of your favorites and one of my personal favorites, our boy Timmy Hill. It was great to see Timmy Hill return. He had really kind of taken, a hiatus throughout the summer and into the later months of this year. We really had not seen him that much. Yeah, he was on the entry list, but he was being put on the DNQ car for MBM Motorsports. We really didn't even get to see him drive, if at all. I do count that as father time. He did have a new, very cute son named Hudson, cute little guy. And maybe it's appointed to father time, or they just didn't have the right funding. Or maybe just a combination of both at the same time. Either way, it was great to see Timmy return to the seat. Ironically enough, this was their Watkins Glen truck, which I found kind of funny, the fact that the same truck they raced at a road course, they brung to a half mile. That's why we love Timmy Hill so much. And boy, did that truck get the living crap beat out of it. That truck was so beat up. The front end of that truck was completely smashed. But that's Martinsville. You don't need great aerodynamics. If that truck will turn, you can still run top 5 with that truck. And even though he did initially come across the line in 11th, scoring updates afterwards listed him in 10th, which was just so happy to see him back. A great finish and a great money day for Timmy as well. It just hurts me that the 56 team had to skip 2 races because, as I'll talk about later, they would have been almost right there in the top 20 bonus. But we'll get to that a little later. More good runs for the backmarkers, you could say, is the 0-2 of Chris Wright. Now, right in the beginning of the race, I was a little criticism on Chris Wright for not running all that well. But he proved me wrong by the end of the race, which I'm always happy to be proved wrong, and got a solid 13th place finish and gained 6 points on Haley Deegan's truck. Again, we'll get to that a little later, but I just wanted to give that a quick shout out. Spencer Boyd, I will say this. In terms of the way he was running at the beginning of the year versus now, Spencer Boyd has tremendously stepped up his performance in the 20 for Randy Young. Not by much, but enough to the point where I'm actually satisfied and not saying that he's just taking up a seat. He actually did do a really good job this weekend and brought home a very clean truck. Gosh. We'll give a shout out to Chris Hacker. I believe this was his just 3rd or 4th truck start. 3rd, I think. Did a good job all day in the niche truck. I believe he did get spun throughout the race one time and still to bring it home 16th. I'm curious to see what his 2022 plans are. Doesn't think he has the sponsorship for a full-time season yet, obviously, as Nice, I believe, has 3 of their 4 trucks already locked up for 2022, which is kind of shocking considering that a team like that I thought would scale down, but looks like they still may try to run 4 full-time trucks in 2022, which, hey, if they had the sponsorship, why not? Next one was our Talladega winner, Tate Fogelman, who really did not have a sponsor this weekend. They had Duranco Industries from team owner Randy Young on the truck, which pretty much showed that they didn't have sponsorship and were just going to try to kind of get through the weekend without much incident or harm. And they did. 18th for that team is still very good. And so definitely for the Young's Motorsports team, getting all 3 trucks inside the top 20 was definitely a really good. As for some of the other backmarkers, however, did not go so well. Brett Holmes, he's one of the backmarkers. I just attribute to that again. Brett Holmes never had been to Martinsville before. He didn't even do that bad. He finished 22nd, which I would say is a good run, but also kind of a disappointing run. But I point that to him never being to Martinsville before. That's why I feel like if you don't want practice or qualifying, fine. But at least have a rookie session. Kind of like what ARCA does. ARCA, before the main practice session, has a rookie session. I really feel like NASCAR could learn something from that, considering they own the series as well. But backmarkers would say, like, Sage Karam. I'll even say Sage Karam took that Jordan Anderson truck and was running top 20 with it. But unfortunately, a late race crash relegated him to a disappointing 32nd. Josh Rayom was crashed earlier in the race, relegated to a disappointing 34th. That 34 truck has lost 5 positions in the owner points, I believe, in just the last 3 or 4 races. It's been a rough stretch for the Rayom team, that is for sure. Roger Rios, again, slow, but mainly because he just doesn't have any practice there. He's never been on the track before there. Was 35th, and of course, we all already mentioned Jennifer in 36th. So, like always, some backmarkers have good days and some have bad. The other one I've talked about, Jesse Awuji, I'll give him credit, though, kind of after the criticism he received in the first stage. He did go on to finish 30th, and the 41 of Dawson Cram ended up 23rd, despite also that 41 truck being almost demolished by the end of the race. So as we saw there, good days and bad days for the backmarkers and relegated us to a pretty close battle for the top 20 bonus, which, like I said, 6 points gained. 6 points gained for the Young's Motorsports team trying to reel in the David Gilliland Racing team. It is now just 10 points. 10 points is the gap from Team DGR to the 0-2 of Young's Motorsports. Now, going to this weekend, we have same drivers entered, Chris Wright and Haley Deegan. I do think Chris Wright is going to struggle a little bit on this track like Phoenix. I don't believe he's ran on the track before, whereas Deegan does have quite a few K&N starts on this track alone, K&N and ARCA starts. So I think it would really, as much as the gap is closed, I really do think it would take some bad luck for the one, which we have seen this season. We've definitely seen that team have more bad luck than they probably should have. But the Phoenix truck races aren't usually prone to DNFs. They usually have maybe around average about 5 or 6, even with the 40 truck fields. So it's really going to take some absolute chaos for the 0-2 to be able to pass the one. But certainly that is going to be the goal, you could say, for Randy Young this weekend, and try to get one of their trucks into that bonus. And as for David Gilliland, I don't even think they're thinking about it. I don't think they even realize they're that close to the bubble. But the back of their minds, they got to be thinking about, man, if we lose this bonus, I mean, yeah, we still got plenty of funding coming in, but, you know, it would have been nice to have that. As I pointed earlier, the top 36 battle, that was the last race of this season where we're going to see the $3,500 limit, because this weekend at Phoenix is a full practice and qualifying race weekend. We have 41 trucks entered, and I think one of the bigger stories, if you guys haven't seen it on Twitter yet, Norm Benning. This must just be Norm throwing everything at it. Is this his last race? I don't know. But Norm Benning will be racing a full-fledged Nice Motorsports truck with a fresh motor in the truck. Probably the first time Norm's had a fresh motor in well over 15 to 20 years. And I will say this. The way that Norm drives this truck in practice tomorrow morning and in qualifying will really tell us, is this Norm's last ride, or will we see him go into 2022 at age 70? Personally, I hope Norm does the best he can. I just don't think at his age, I don't think he can beat 10 trucks to lock himself in. He might be able to beat like 3 or 4, maybe even 5, but I don't see Norm Benning beating 10 trucks to lock himself in. And if he does, that'd be awesome. I would highlight as one of the biggest upsets of the year for the underdogs. But going back to the top 36 point standings, the top 36 cutoff did go to the number 11 of the Spencer Davis team. But like I said, that's kind of rendered useless because it's not really for anything special. 36 is just the main cutoff for how many trucks they're going to run. Basically, everyone from 37th on back, 36th on back is in trouble. They got to step it up in qualifying. Again, everyone knows the rules. 2 laps. Got to be 10 trucks. Personally, for me, the DNQs, I'll give my DNQ predictions right now since we're going by the Truck Series race. I hate to say it, but I don't think Norm's going to make it. I don't see Jennifer making it, so that's 2. Excuse me, guys. I see potential in Chris Hacker. I really do. But with the Riom equipment, unfortunately, I'm going to have to put Chris on my list, not because of lack of trying. I think if Chris Hacker misses the race, it's going to be just by a little bit. Like he might wind up 32nd or 33rd. They're going to give it a great effort because I love that Riom team. Same thing with Dawson Cram. I'm a big Dawson Cram fan. Really nice kid. They got a great team over there. But in just terms of overall speed, unfortunately, their performance just hasn't really been there. Not for lack of trying, just bad luck as well. Again, I think just like Hacker, he'll come really close. If Dawson misses the show, it'll be just by a little bit. But he is on my list. And my final DNQ would actually have to be Todd Peck. And mainly that's just because we've seen throughout Todd's career, he hasn't been the fastest driver. He owns his own equipment. It's kind of like Jennifer and Norm, but just a little bit faster than them. So those would be my 5 DNQs. Norm, Jennifer, Todd Peck, Chris Hacker, and Dawson Cram. And I don't want any of those guys to go home. It's a wide open slate to who could go home. But those are just my 5 picks. And I'm hoping I'm proven wrong. I really am. But with this being a 36 truck field, everybody who makes the race will get full purse money. No $3,500 crap. Everyone who races tomorrow night will be getting full purse money unless by some chance it rains in Phoenix, which is like me. Oh God, I don't want to make that reference. I don't want to make that reference. No, but you guys get the drift. You guys get the drift. Unless it rains, everyone's getting full purse money. So that's going to be a big deal as well for a lot of those teams who have been earning just, a couple $1,000 throughout the year. This is a big deal for a lot of these teams. Final race of the season should be very entertaining. If I do have to give a championship pick, frankly, I think it's going to be decided by a late race restart. And if I do have to pick a driver's champion, none of my guys really made it. But John Hunter Nemechek would be my choice, mainly because I've been a Nemechek fan my entire life. I love Joe, so I love John. So hopefully John will win the championship. That's my pick. But anyway, excuse me, guys. That is the truck portion. The battle is very, very close this weekend, so keep an eye on the 0-2 and the 1 trucks. Those will be the top 20 battle to watch. And when it comes to qualifying tomorrow, keep an eye on that bottom, I would say about the bottom 10. 30th through 41st in owner points. Keep an eye on that area. I think most of your DNQs will come from that area. So let's move on to the second tier series, Xfinity, or as I like to call it, the top tier series. They have their Phoenix race as well. It should be as the great Jim Ross call it, it should be a slobber knocker. We got 42 great cars entered with about 40 good drivers. There's a little joke for you. Should be a great race as usual, but the battles that we saw at Martinsville, some of these backmarkers had great luck, and some of them almost had luck that almost killed their entire season. And I think one of the sadder stories is the 44 of Tommy Joe Martins. Now, as many of you guys know, and Tommy's been promoting it on his Twitter, this is the last race under the Martins Motorsports banner. 12 years in NASCAR. I think it's really sad, but business is business. I understand the deal why. Tommy's one of my favorite guys in the garage. He follows me on the starting park. He's so interactive with me. Really great guy. I wish him nothing but the best for 2022 with the Alpha Prime team. I hope he gets to drive still a couple races. But unfortunately, their last place finish at Martinsville greatly, greatly killed their shot at the top 20 bonus because their opponents had really good finishes. So let's go over those real quick too. As I mentioned earlier, with that the barrier between the low budget teams and the big teams, it kind of evens out, like I said, at Martinsville. And that was very prominent. Alex LeBay, the guy who the 44 is fighting for the top 20 bonus, finished 8th. Tommy was last. So that right there gained the 36 a huge gap and actually passed the 44, and I believe, yes, is sitting on the top 20 bubble right now. Jeremy Clements finished 9th. Another great top 10 for Jeremy Clements this season. Josh Williams is 11th. And I'll give a huge shout out to the 92 team. Missing a race and still sitting 19th in owner points. That is very, very impressive by the DGM racing team and Josh Williams. They missed a race and are still in line for the top 20 bonus. Highly impressive by the DGM team. Landon Castle got 12th. Much needed run for that team. Colin Garrett got 14th for the Sam Hunt team. Joe Grab Jr. and J.J. Ailey 15th and 16th. Great day for the Rick Ware Racing Bobby Dodder team. Preston Pardis in his oval debut got 18th. And I'll even give a shout out to Stephen Knight, who finally got to run a good oval race in 21st after having a disastrous race back at Richmond. So a good day for some of those back markers. But then again, we also had a lot of trouble for some back markers that did affect the standings. 30th place was Spencer Boyd, and I wanted to get into this on this show. I didn't want to get into it on the ARCA podcast because it was kind of an unrelated, but man, the absolute disrespect that 52 team got for staying out, leading laps under caution, the disrespect that they got from the commentators and from a lot of the NASCAR reporters and people online just showed a lot of the true colors that a lot of people really just do not care about the back markers. They think that they should leave NASCAR, that they don't deserve to be out there. And if they are out there, they should not run better than where they run. Frankly, I think that's just completely disrespectful. Spencer and the team were out of tires. What were they supposed to do? Drop to the back? No, we got a sponsor. Why don't we put ourselves up front? Let's lead some laps. Let's get our car out there. Let's get our name out there. Let's show that this team owner who's been with NASCAR for almost 50 years, I think 50 years, I don't know for sure, the 40, 50 years, let's show that this guy can still put a good car on the track. And yeah, he fell back. But then, that crash was not even his fault. If you guys watch the replay, yeah, he went a little high. But I think it was Riley Herbst who turned Jeb Burton, and Spencer just got caught up in it. The wreck was not even Spencer's fault. But everyone blames the 52 guy because low-budget teams suck, apparently. It pissed a lot of people off, and it made me very happy to see the amount of people, including my good buddy Brock Beard, who came to the 52's defense, and Brad Perez. A lot of people coming to the 52's defense with the disgusting stuff that was said by some of these race fans and NASCAR reporters alike. So I just wanted to shout that out for anyone who said that what the 52 team did at Martinsville was dumb and stupid. You clearly don't have any respect for backmarkers and don't ever call yourself a backmarker fan. Only a real backmarker fan will understand why the 52 did what they did and give them nothing but praise for trying something very, very risky. Unfortunately, it did not pay off, but oh well. At least it'll live in the highlights forever. That's what we can say. Going back to the underdogs, Ryan Vargas, they didn't really report on it. I didn't really check on Twitter, but apparently from what I heard, his car never fired, lost a couple of laps, and then through another issue, lost even more laps. And man, I tell you, it's been a rough season, I would honestly say, for Ryan Vargas. I would put lack of tires in a lot of his races as the reason why he hadn't run so good, really lack of tires. But overall, I think it's just been kind of a disappointing season. It's like when they get a good run, they build some momentum. Next week, they have issues. It's just been a really difficult season for him. And I think it's just, Ryan is a guy who I feel like needs practice in qualifying. Help him set up the car, help him learn some notes, help him get used to the track. But unfortunately, we just don't get that right now. So they finished very poorly, but not by their fault, 32nd. After all the praise of Mike Harmon and the 47 team getting the 10K bonus for this race at Martinsville, they unfortunately had some issues. Despite having a great sponsor on the hood and overall having a very well-performing car, almost running in the top 20. I don't quite remember the issue where they had to go to the garage. Maybe it was a brake issue, carburetor issue. Don't quite remember. They were able to get Kyle back out there, but the damage was done, and a disappointing 34th place finish. Same thing with Bailey Curry. It's like when Bailey has a good run, then they have a bad run. Bailey ended up 35th. Brandon Brown, who, man, it's kind of sad to see that after his Talladega win, really hasn't had the best of luck. You look at the Roval, you look at the Texas crash, and you look at this crash. It's been kind of a dismal after win season right here, and hopefully they can turn around and have a better run, at Phoenix. Then, of course, Mike Harmon. Now, I initially thought that this was going to simply be a start and park, but I was happy to be proven wrong. It was shown on Mike's Facebook page that they had a pit crew set up. They had tires to run the whole race. Unfortunately, the same issues that have been plaguing the 74 for about the last 8 races have plagued them again. And very early on, just 38 laps in, the 74 was forced to call it a night, making that, unfortunately, 8 straight DNFs for the 74 team. And man, it's sad to see. 8 straight DNFs for the 74 team. But not one of them, guys, have been a start and park. Remember that. Not one of them has. So, like just the truck race, we also had some backmarkers that had great runs and some backmarkers that, would like to forget that race. Looking at our point standings, we'll start off here with the top 20 bonus. Like I said, the 92 with its great run extended its lead. It has a 31-point gap over the top 20 bonus. So you could virtually say, as long as Josh Williams runs better than 30th, the 92 team is a lock for the top 20 bonus, which should happen. Josh probably not going to take any chances. I would not be shocked if Josh Williams does run a conservative race, just because they know that they are in line for this bonus and that it really helps them going into 2022. Obviously, with the top 10 finish, hard to believe that the 36 team at one point used to be 37th in the points. I mean, what a recovery this season by the DGM team. With that 8th place finish, they jumped into 20th. And I'll even say this. I gave a lot of criticism to Natalie Decker in the Hour Motorsports 23 car last week, and they kind of shocked me. Natalie ran a clean race from what I've seen. Didn't impress anyone, but I don't remember her getting in any accidents, and finished on the lead lap in 25th. I mean, not exactly lighting the world on fire, but not destroying a car either, and still left the 23 car with a very respectable chance at getting the top 20 bonus this weekend. Just 3 points out of the top 20 is the 23 car. And that's very doable this weekend. And unfortunately, the sad part, Tommy Joe Martins finishing last, only getting 1 point, is 11 points out of the battle. And obviously, he's not out by a long shot, but the only problem I see is that with the 44, the 36, and the 23 being so evenly matched cars, it's going to be really hard for Tommy Joe to finish 11 spots, actually 12 spots higher than the 36 car. I think we can all agree, as much as we love DGM Racing and Mario Goslin, we want to see Tommy Joe Martins and his team go out strong. And you can honestly say that the top 20 bonus would be more like a win. And Tommy Joe even recently revealed on a podcast a couple days ago information that I'd always wanted to share with you guys. And I've been getting a lot of questions. My friend David Pequeen on Twitter posted that for drivers and teams who've combined finish inside the top 20 in points, the bonus is as high as $70,000 to $75,000. Now, that may not seem like a lot of money to a NASCAR team, but for a team like, you could say like DGM, JD Motorsports, or Martins Motorsports, $75,000 is probably 2.5 to 3 races worth of purse money. So that's a big deal to these teams. That's why I concentrate on this battle so much. That is a lot of money to a team like to a team like DGM, and to a team like Tommy Joe. So definitely this weekend's top 20 battle, you guys got to focus on the 36, the 23, and the 44. Focus on those cars while also focusing on the championship if you guys want. But that's the battle I'm going to be focusing on. The 10K bonus, posted it last week. The last 10K bonus of the season will go to the 4 of JD Motorsports. So congratulations to JD Motorsports. They will be the last recipient of the 10K bonus for this year. Like I said, just like Truck Series, the 4,500 money wiped away. We got 42 cars, 36 spots. And boy, I tell you, I don't think I can give DNQ predictions. Why? Because I think all these cars are so evenly matched in the back. I think some of the DNQs we're going to see on Saturday will shock a lot of people. And this is something I did not point out, but rather one of my friends did. The Xfinity draw for qualifying could really determine who goes home. Because what you guys might not realize is that Xfinity qualifying takes place after the ARCA race. And what I mean by that is that ARCA practice and qualifying and the race, all that general tire rubber mixed in with the PJ. Well, actually, I think it's resin this weekend. But all that general tire rubber is going to be all around the track. And we've seen in the past, trying to mix rubber to rubber definitely does not go well. Now, it's great that these guys are getting 2 laps of qualifying because I think they're going to need it. But I think the first, I would say, 5 to 6 cars are going to be at a humongous disadvantage because that rubber mix-up is going to cause a lot more problems than people think it is. You know, it's going to be like, 4 o'clock by the time they do qualifying? All that rubber, track's going to be hot, sticky, and slick. It's going to be very treacherous. I would not even be shocked if we see someone wreck in qualifying just by accidentally overstepping it a little bit. But definitely, if you guys want to shout out, the last top 36 guy right now is the 07 of SS Greenlight. You guys already know the people who, are outside the cut line that are running. For everyone that actually been asking, the reason why the 13 had been DNQing every single week, for the people who did not know, no, Carl Long was not losing out on an entry fee every single week. The entry fee for Xfinity, by the way, if anyone's wondering, is $2,200. So no, Carl was not spending $2,200 every single race that the 13 DNQ'd. The rule of which we learned a little earlier this year is that it simply overlapped to the next race. So back after the DNQ at Indianapolis, when Carl sent in his entry fee for the next race, it was simply an entry fee for this weekend at Phoenix, in which the 13 will be driven by Stephen Light. A lot of people think that Stephen Light's not going to make the race. Don't sleep on Stephen Light. For the fans of MBM Motorsports, he took Old Blue, which was an old car, on scuffs and qualified that car 25th back in 2020. So there's a shout out right there to Stephen Light. For everyone who thinks he's going to DNQ, don't sleep on him. But I can't give my DNQ predictions because it's just, I don't think any of mine are going to be correct. I think we have such an evenly matched field for this weekend's race. And even for the teams who, don't really have the best equipment, they have good qualifiers. I look at, we got Yaley in the 07 who's in 36th. We got Bailey who's in the 15. We got Gray Galding who's in the 74. We got Joey Gase who's in the 52. I mean, we got good qualifiers here. We got the 61, Timmy Hill. Timmy Hill's back driving Xfinity. I think the DNQs we see for Xfinity on Saturday, nobody's going to fully be able to predict them all. We're going to see a very weird DNQ list come Saturday. But just like I said in the truck race, everybody will get full purse money. Everybody will. So that's the Xfinity portion. Watch the battles during the race. Watch the battle in qualifying. Very excited for this weekend. And like I said, we're going to miss you, Tommy Joe Martins, driving full time. And I think on behalf of a lot of people, even the Our Motorsports and DGM fans, go out there and try your best to get that top 20 bonus, buddy. We love you. So moving on to our final portion of the show, which is the big one, the big kahuna, final Cup race of the season. NASCAR Cup Series at Phoenix. The big kahunas racing it out. Not many battles to go over again, as the battle that I had kind of pointed out all season, the top 25 battle, let's just get right into it. The top 25 battle is all but over. It kind of ended about 4 races ago. The 37 and the 6 had really been having bad runs, while the 99 and the 43 had been having great runs. And so the gap this weekend is an astounding over 60 points. No way that the Stewart-Haas car will get there. So despite not having a lot of full sponsorship this season, the 43 of Richard Petty Motorsports will get the $1 million bonus, which for me, as a Petty fan, always have been and always will be, no matter who the driver is, always will cheer that 43 car. It's good to see. Eric Jones got the team's, I believe, their 9th top 10 of the season. 6th. It's either 6 or 9. I remember seeing that number. 6 or 9 top 10s. They've had a very good year. Very good year. And it's good to see that team be rewarded with another $1 million bonus. And I would honestly say it was kind of shocking to a lot of people who didn't realize that Trackhouse was that far low in the owner points, but they were 25th in points. But nonetheless, despite where they finished this weekend, they could even finish last. They will still also get the $1 million bonus. It is a little bittersweet, though. There are a lot of Ryan Preece fans out there. JTG Racing, Doherty Racing took a chance and unfortunately did not pay off. The plan at the beginning of the season was that the 37 only had 24 of 36 races of sponsorship sold. And by the time Daytona had come, I had reported that this might be the last race of the season. And I guess secretly that they had been able to fill in those 10 races of sponsorship. But unfortunately, the runs just haven't been there. And unfortunately, this full season effort for the uncharted JTG team will not pay off. And it's sad to see because I really feel like Ryan Preece is getting held back by this equipment. I would like to see what Ryan Preece could do in a better team. But unfortunately, that's just the case nowadays. And right now, we don't really know Ryan's 2022 plans, and I wish him the best of luck. Obviously, though, the big battle that everyone is talking about in Cup is the big charter battle. Again, we all know the rules. I'll go over it one more time for the people who are new to the show. If you're in the bottom 3 of the top 36 charters, your charter will be, or can be, but more than likely will be, repossessed by NASCAR and will be sold to a different team. We have now seen that charters are going for as much as $12 million. And you guys wonder why Dale Jr. is not running Cup. Jesus Christ. I mean, and I'm not trying to make a joke there, okay, but wow, $12 million for a charter. That's almost a whole season budget spent on a charter. Like, just wow. Wow. But I just can't, that number is just outrageous. I can't get over it. But our bottom 6 for the charter list look like this. Live Fast is firmly locked into 31st place. BJ's team's got nothing to worry about. 32nd is the 52 of Rick Ware Racing, which has just a 5-point gap over the top 33 line. Sitting in 33rd and on the bubble is the Petty Ware Racing 51 car. And 34th is the 15 Rick Ware entry, which is 4 points behind the 51. 35th is the 53 Rick Ware Racing machine, which is 11 points behind. And then, of course, back in the distant 36th is the Starcom racing car, which is over 30 points behind. And, of course, will not even be close to getting up there. Now, everyone's just kind of saying, oh, the Rick Ware entries are going to just lay over and let that team go by. I don't see it like that. That could happen, but we all know what happened back at Homestead back in 19. I don't see Rick Ware pulling any shady crap like that again, at least, And for everyone who said that Joey Gay start and parked Martinsville, first off, start and parking is not allowed in the Cup Series. You can actually find a lot of money for doing that. Number 2, Joey had sponsors. Number 3, there was a pit crew there. Number 4, there was like 5 to 6 sets of tires in the pits, from what I was told. So no, anyone who thinks that 53 start and parked Martinsville is full of crap. It was a legitimate fuel pressure issue, and unfortunately, Joey Gase and the team had to retire early. That is the truth, and I'm sticking by that, and I'm sticking by my sources. Don't trust the people who say they're going to start and park. And for everyone who's saying that they're going to start and park this weekend, again, full of crap. They can't do that. And overall, if you guys even saw, I even pointed out on Twitter, the 51 is obviously had the most money been put into it. It's the only Rick Ware car that's actually running the updated Chevy nose, if you guys hadn't noticed that. The 51's running the more flatlined Chevy nose, where the 15 and 53 are running more of the old pointed Chevy nose. And you got to wonder, that's greatly got to be affecting their speed as well. Now, again, will the 15 and the 53 try to challenge the 51 for position if the chance is there? Probably not. I do think the big thing that people are saying that the only way the 51 could really lose this charter is if, number 1, Denny wrecks him, which I'll hate Denny even more if that happens. Number 2, if Cody wrecks himself or gets wrecked, or number 3, just gets flat out beat. But overall, I think there's going to be a huge watch on those Rick Ware cars and see where Cody finishes. Now, again, though, he's got a 4-point gap over the 15 car, so it's not like the 15 even has to beat him by 1 position. The 15's got to go out there and beat him by over 5 spots to pass the 51, and where, with how many cars might fall out of the race, likelihood is that's not even going to happen. So, for the Petty Ware team and anyone who really, I've seen a lot of, on another side note real quick, a lot of people I've seen showing their true colors and absolutely bashing the Rick Ware team. I get it. Does the team not try a lot of the time? You know what? Maybe they do. I don't know if they do or not. But they do not deserve a lot of the hate that they get. And I'm sick and tired of seeing a lot of these people who think they know everything about the sport. I don't even know everything about the sport. I hardly know a lot. But I've been at the track enough, I've been in the garage enough to know that the Rick Ware guys still work their asses off. When a lot of the people I've seen on Twitter who rant about Rick Ware wouldn't know anything what to do with the car, maybe other than to put the steering wheel on. That's it. So that's kind of sad seeing a lot of the Rick Ware haters. But again, at the end of the day, they're just haters. Also, shout out to Cody Ware. Hope the family's doing okay. Just wanted to give a shout out. Saw Cody at Kansas. Didn't look to be in the best state of mind, but I still wished him well. So shout out to Cody Ware. Hope you're doing well, buddy. But back to the battle. Will the 51 be able to stay ahead? I think it's very likely so, unless some major turn of events happened. And will the 51 charter be sold anyway? Likely so. We don't know that right now, but you know that Petty Ware would love to be able to get their hands on the money for the charter rather than having NASCAR take it away from them and sell it for their own profit. Because you know that's what NASCAR wants to do. They want to take away that charter and make that $12 million. Couple more notes before we wrap up the show. We have 2 teams in the Cup Series who are making their last starts this weekend. Chip Ganassi Racing and Starcom Racing. We'll get into Chip first and when with Starcom. Chip Ganassi's Cup team has been in the sport for quite a long time. Have got a lot of my favorite drivers. I would still say my favorite driver who has driven for the Chip Ganassi team has got to be my boy Reed Sorensen. Been a Reed Sorensen fan for a long, long time. Also love Juan Montoya. I will never stop saying that one of my all-time favorite paint schemes was that big red car from the big red car and the juicy fruit car. Oh, I loved those cars so much as a kid. And it's sad to see Chip going, but hey, when you're given that deal, that Trackhouse must have given them, I would have taken the offer too, probably. Starcom Racing. I was there for their first race back in Kansas of 17. As you guys know, on the starting park, I'm a huge Derek Cope fan. I've been a big Derek Cope fan since 2008. Derek also gets a lot of hate. The team gets a lot of hate. I just think it's just due to an inexperienced driver. Starcom Racing's always been one of my favorite teams. Man, with Landon Castle, they were on fire. Even with Quinn Half and the less than stellar results, still support the team at an all-time high. I got a lot of friends in the business who work for Starcom Racing, and I wish them well this weekend. I hope that, both of the Chip Ganassi cars and the Starcom Racing entry, excuse me, guys, can finish the race and bring home some solid finishes. And unfortunately, we'll see them both right into the sunset. As for Derek Cope, I hope he can find work somewhere. Any team would be lucky to have him. He's very knowledgeable. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Chip. We're going to miss those teams. Again, 00, also one of my all-time favorite NASCAR numbers. 1 and 00, two of my favorite NASCAR numbers. 00 is my all-time favorite NASCAR number. It always looks cool seeing that number. And I hope we see 00 used next year in the Cup Series. It'd be nice if it would come back. But RIP Starcom Racing, RIP Chip Ganassi Racing. You guys will be dearly missed. You guys were backmarkers. You guys ran at the front sometimes. And we will close Backmarker Battles Episode 3 by just saying thank you to them, wishing them the best of luck. Wishing the best of luck to all the underdogs this weekend in their battles. One last race, one last weekend, championship weekend at Phoenix. I'll be there with you guys watching and live tweeting. And I hope you guys enjoyed the championship race weekend as much as I will, starting tomorrow with the truck race and ending on Sunday with the Cup race. We will be back here with a follow-up episode next Thursday around the same time. Reviewing the battles and who won and who lost. And we will be picking up backmarker battles then starting at Daytona next season. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode of Backmarker Battles. I love you guys. We'll see you next Thursday. Have a good weekend. And you guys have also a great night. So long, guys.